Greece marks the halfway point in the World Rally Championship. And as usual, Team Toyota was there in force with 3 works cars and 3 drivers. Frenchman Didier Auriol, who was leading the Drivers' Championship, Finland's Juha Kankkunen, who was second in the championship, and trainee driver Japan's Yoshio Fujimoto. In typically hot, dusty and rocky conditions, the rally got underway. But it wasn't the Toyota team setting the pace. It was Subaru. The team's 2 cars led the way, driven by exciting young Scottish driver Colin McRae and the quiet but equally exciting Spaniard Carlos Sainz. Didier Auriol, fresh from victory in Corsica, started confidently. But on the first day, he lost 52 seconds to McRae. Juha Kankkunen was fastest on one of the day's 10 stages and happy in 4th place. Making a welcome return to rallying was the likeable and immensely talented Ari Vatanen. Dropped by Subaru in favour of Carlos Sainz at the end of 1993, Vatanen was back in a private German team driving a factory-backed Ford Escort Cosworth.
So far everything has gone very well, and a new car, new team, new co-driver, so it's a real new fresh start, and I feel very motivated by it.
The new combination was obviously to Vatanen's liking because he was comfortably placed in 5th, just 1 minute behind McRae, and was the leading Ford driver ahead of their #1 driver, Mickey Biasion. At the end of the day, with all the top teams still in the hunt, second place Carlos Sainz was reasonably happy.
It's okay. As I told you before, I'm not 100% happy at the moment with the car. It's cannot drive really 100%. So it has been difficult for me the whole day. And I think it will be like that the whole rally, but okay, we will see tomorrow. We have to try to keep the position in front of Didier and Juha. I think it's the most important thing.
On day 2 of the rally, the battle resumed between Toyota and Subaru, with Didier Auriol making a charge. He went into second place, getting to within 36 seconds of Colin McRae. But then, on the longest stage of the rally, he hit a large rock, lost engine oil, and seized the engine. The day was not kind to his teammate Kankkunen either. When in 3rd place, he had problems which cost him 6 minutes, dropping him back into 5th and possibly out of contention.
The rear steering arm welding just broke.
Did you get stopped in the stage?
No, of course I came through the stage, but very slowly because the wheel was just free. It was turning everywhere.
The 2 Subarus were still running 1 and 2, just 7 seconds separating them. Colin McRae was understandably pleased.
Very good, but the last section is very, very twisty. Hard work.
However, the Scot would not remain happy for long. He shattered a windscreen and claimed it was the fault of scrutineers who had failed to properly fix his bonnet safety catches after a random check. In protest, he blocked the road for 20 minutes whilst the damage was repaired, and he was excluded from the rally by officials. Carlos Sainz, who'd been steadily improving all year and had recorded his best finish for Subaru with a 2nd in Corsica, was now the clear leader. Mitsubishi's Armin Schwartz was 2nd, and Kankkunen was fighting his way back towards 3rd. After 3 days and 1,500 kilometres of pounding rocky roads and searing heat, it was Carlos Sainz recording his first victory in his Subaru Impreza. Armin Schwartz held on to second, and for Toyota, there was some consolation in Kankkunen's third. Ari Vartman was a creditable fifth. The result has thrown the World Rally Championship wide open. Carlos Sainz is now at the top of the drivers' table with Juha Kankkunen on 57 points. Didier Auriol is in third with 47. In the manufacturers' contest, Subaru is closing the gap on Toyota and looking threatening for the first time. Ford is in third place. With 5 events still to go, the championship is poised for an exciting second half. Lights and glamour of Monte Carlo are linked with the famous casinos. But in the World Rally Championship, Monte Carlo is a gamble of an entirely different nature. As the lead car set off on the world's only all-bitumen rally, the crews guess as to the nature of the event ahead. Will it be wet, dry, icy or snowbound? And what tyres do you choose? The answer was to be all of the above. Making the most of the early conditions were the 2 Subaru drivers, the Spaniard Carlos Sainz and the Scot Colin McRae, apparently taking the right gamble with tyre choice. Mitsubishi's new signing, Tommi Mäkinen, had been told to take things easy in his Lancer Evolution. But in only his second appearance in Monte Carlo, he was looking very strong in third place. Strangely, the all-powerful Toyota team was struggling. 4-time world champion Juha Kankkunen was back in 9th. New driver Armin Schwartz was 1 place behind. And current world champion Didier Auriol was languishing in 12th. Things were not looking good. Another thing causing disquiet were the new regulations, which meant cars had to keep the same tyres for 2 stages. They had to be selected the night before, and the team mechanics could not help the crews outside regular service areas.
This is great.
Top drivers were not amused at having to try their hand at amateur mechanics. Carlos Sainz being heard to mutter that he was paid to drive, not be a mechanic. Into the second day of the rally, and the Toyotas started to improve their position. Kankkunen and Auriol moved up into 4th and 5th places. Sainz, meanwhile, happier behind the wheel than under the car, was hanging on to the lead. His teammate McRae had dropped out of contention by running off a snow-covered road. France's Francois Delacour, Ford's top driver, was charging, closing the gap on the Subaru driver, at one stage going into the lead, only to see it disappear through wrong tyre choice soon after as Sainz regrouped. Tommi Mäkinen continued to drive impressively in third, ahead of the slowly improving Toyota of Kankkunen. As the rally entered its final stages, the experienced Kankkunen was trying his hand at something new, panel beating. He'd clouted a wall and was forced to make emergency repairs himself, with his team watching on, only able to offer suggestions. In the final night stages, Sainz hung on to his lead from a fired-up Delacour. Kankkunen's efforts outside the car were rewarded when he slipped past Mäkinen into third. Afterwards, Carlos Sainz may have been relieved to take victory in the first event of the season, but it'll be a win he'll not remember with fondness.
And I think this Monte Carlo has been the most difficult I have ever done, because the conditions were very difficult. And since the first day, we have found every kind of roads and mixed, and as well we have this new tire regulation, which has made it even more complicated.
After the first event, the World Drivers' Championship sees Sainz on top with 20 points, Delacour in second with 15, Kankkunen in third with 12, Mäkinen fourth with 10, and Ford's Bruno Thierry in fifth.